and welcome back to the most amazing channel on the internet. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate, and today we're talking about the top 10 scariest things found in the desert. Now, desert makes up around 1/3 of Earth's landmass, and when we think of desert, we often think of Sahara, sandy places, hot places, but fun fact for you, Antarctica is also considered to be a desert. I learnt this today, so I thought you should too. It's actually the driest continent in the world and very little snow or rain falls, and for that reason, I've slipped in one truly terrifying thing found in Antarctica on this list, and it might actually be the scariest of them all. Before we get into this video, why don't you guys let me know if you prefer hot or cold weather? Do you want hot desert or cold desert? Would you rather be too hot or too cold? I've actually thought about this a lot because I really don't like being either, but I think I would choose too cold because layers, but when you're too hot, like, there's only a certain amount of naked you can get, right? Right! Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and while you're down there, why don't you leave a thumbs up on this video and share it with a friend. There are also links to our Instagram in the description box, so check them out. Do stick around to the end of the video where I'll be reading out comments from one of my most recent videos. Alright, let's do this. What are we unearthing from the desert? Coming in at number 10, we have King Tut's tomb. If you look at an aerial view of the Valley of the Kings, you will see why King Tutankhamun's tomb went undiscovered for 2,000 years and change. Basically, it's in the desert. Yeah, it's nearer to the edge of the desert and approaching the banks of the River Nile, but the desert nonetheless. Honestly, Egypt is basically desert. Hidden by the shifting sands, his tomb was finally discovered in 1922 by Howard Carter with the investment of Lord Carnarvon. The tomb is undoubtedly one of the scariest things to be dragged up from the desert, but the excavation team were specifically looking for it. They weren't, however, looking for the curse that followed them. Ah yes, the curse of the pharaohs, one of the most worrying things ever to be brought up from the sand. The team that excavated the tomb were quickly dogged by a number of untimely deaths. On the day Carter entered the tomb, a cobra got into his pet canary's cage, with the bird dead in its mouth. Now, the cobra is the symbol of the Egyptian monarchy, and the symbolism really wasn't lost on locals who began to panic, and panic, actually was kinda due. Lord Carnarvon, the financial backer of the excavation project, died shortly after the tomb was first breached as a result of an infected mosquito bite. But even weirder, the bite may have matched a healed lesion found on King Tut's cheek during his autopsy. Now, two of Carnarvon's half-brothers also died shortly after the excavation. One of the doctors who worked on King Tut's bodies, this was radiologist Sir Archibald Douglas Reed. He died later, as did two other men. Thanks. Coming into number 9, we have bodies. In something from a scene of Breaking Bad, 5 bodies burned, I quote, burned beyond recognition, were found in the Arizona desert in a burned out SUV in 2012. This was a high number for sure, but not anything new for the area, which is famously dogged by drugs cartels, being so close to the Mexican border. Imagine being the person who found them. Now, in this instance, it was a border control agent whose job it is to patrol the Tucson-Phoenix border. Honestly though, that's not what you want to find when you're at work. Coming into number 8, we have cursed treasure. Is there cursed Aztec treasure hidden in the Utah desert? A lot of people certainly think so. The legends and myths surrounding Montezuma's treasure are enduring in the state. Did 3 children find some of it? Now, this story is of Austin Lyman, Jim Red, and Winston Hurst, who spent their time as kids digging up treasure in the desert around Blanding, Utah. Because of the misfortune that befell the kids when they grew up to be adults, a lot of people have claimed that the ancient relics they found were cursed. Now, Red ended up killing himself, as did 2 other people involved with the later investigation of the antiques. Coming into number 7, we have the Shell oil cover-up. In 1992, Shell were involved in concealing a crude oil leak beneath a Midland residential subdivision. In 2003, incriminating documents were unearthed buried in the desert near Las Vegas. The files buried were under 40 feet of sand, although Shell initially claimed that the material found was simply office refuse. Why bury it so far down then? Following the findings, a jury found the Texas-New Mexico pipeline, a subsidiary of Shell, guilty of covering up the spill. Why is this a scary discovery? If one of the most profitable capitalist corporations in the world wants something disappeared, do you want to be the person that finds it? Honestly, I wouldn't. Coming into number 6, we have the sand patterns. In 2011, Google Earth snapped aerial shots of China's vast Gobi Desert. What did they find? Weird patterns in the sand, like really weird patterns. The grids measured 0.65 miles wide and 1.15 miles long, and the findings sparked a lot of speculation and conspiracy theories. Some speculated they were Chinese weapons testing sites, others said spy satellite calibration targets, replica street maps of Washington DC and New York City, and some even went as far as to say that they were special messages meant for aliens. Now it turns out that the most likely option was actually spy satellite calibration, but we don't know for sure. Maybe the sand patterns are tracks left by our number 5, the Mongolian death worm. So I guess this is kind of cheating, as the death worm has never officially been found, but the legends are enduring and the reported sightings plentiful. The worm is said to be between 2 to 5 feet long, so around 1.5 meters long. It's said to be shaped like none other than a sausage, with neither head nor a tail. It's supposed to be so poisonous that touching it would cause instant death. Not only that, the legend has been embellished over the years, with some accounts saying that the worm spews deadly sulfuric acid and emits a similarly deadly electrical charge. The Mongolian death worm first came to light in the West when explorer and naturalist Roy Chapman Andrews wrote about his expedition into the Gobi Desert. Now this all went down in 1926. The acclaimed explorer found that the Mongolian natives believed firmly in the presence of the fearsome monster in the Gobi Desert, but steadfast evidence has yet to be found. Coming into number 4, we have a lost city in the Sea of Death. The Taklamakan Desert is the largest desert in China and is the world's second largest shifting sands desert. Now the name means you can get in but you can't get out, which is why the desert is often dubbed the Sea of Death. Hundreds of old settlements and thousands of relics have been found buried in this Sea of Death. Now, interestingly, this also includes the lost city of Lulan. A lot of mummified ancient bodies have been found preserved in the sand too, including the 4,000-year-old mummy of a young woman found in 1979. Now she was dubbed the Beauty of Lulan. The desert made up part of the route along the old Silk Road. Who knows what other mysteries are buried under the burning hot sands. How do you guys feel about skulls in the ground? At number 3, we have horned kangaroos. Now I don't know how you feel about kangaroos, but I've never stopped to look at them and felt like, you know what, they need horns. I really don't think that they do. It turns out though there could have been a breed of horned kangaroos once upon a time. These horned kangaroos may have lived in an Australian desert cave. Of course. In May 2002, the bizarre discovery of mutant kangaroo skulls was found in the Nullarbor Plain, Australia. Now the team from the Western Australian Museum in Perth also found evidence of a giant lion. Rah. More from Australia up next. Coming in at number 2, we have the Maori Man. This is a true mystery, one that does send shivers up my spine. The Maori Man, also known as Stuart's Giant, is a massive geoglyph, a design in the ground, a huge one. He's a man holding a throwing stick. Now it was discovered in 1998 in the outback of Australia by a plane flying over. It's 36 miles west of the small outpost town of Maree. The image in the desert sand is still visible today, but geologists have concluded that there's likely no way it could have been created without the use of GPS, which back in 1998 was pretty rudimentary. Nobody knows who created the image. To further add to the mystery, the outline is the exact reverse of the Artemision Zeus bronze raised from the bottom of the Adriatic Sea. That's the sea between Italy and Croatia. Now this was raised in 1928, 70 years before the man was found. Finally, our only Antarctic entry, but it's a goodie. At number 1, we have Blood Falls. Can you imagine being an explorer and coming across this literal vision from hell? The Bloody Glacier was discovered in 1911 by Australian geologist Griffith Taylor, and it has got more dramatic over the years as the ice melts. It is basically one of the most brutal and accurate metaphors for global warming ever. The falls are amid the Taylor Glacier, and for decades people had no idea why it appeared to be gushing blood. Was it bad juju at play? Was it Mother Nature bleeding? Honestly, actually, none of the above. The red liquid isn't actually blood, it's iron-rich hypersaline water. Nonetheless, can you imagine making this discovery? It looks like an omen from actual Satan, especially dramatic as a burst of red colour amongst all of the white. So guys, that was the top 10 scariest things found in the desert. Which of these things did you find the scariest? For a second when I started scripting this video, I thought it said on my tracker top 10 scariest things found in a dessert, and that would have been a whole different list. Shall we do it? Would it be tasty? Do you want it? Let me know if we should make that into one of our lists, or do you want to leave your puddings and pies sacred? Before I get out of here, I'm just going to quickly read some comments from the top 10 scariest Lovecraftian monsters. I Am the Cloud said, "Wow Rebecca, your monster sounds pretty disgusting. I definitely wouldn't want to run into it or smell it." Out of context, that comment sounds so wrong and so weird. I love it. Ashleen is here, was telling us more about their monster. They said, "Mine would be a giant spider named Harold." Harold! I don't like spiders, but maybe I can make an exception for Harold because it seems like such a friendly spider. Typhoon Dragon said, "The night gaunts and the blackness from the stars are my favourite. Also, have you ever heard of Boots Void? Makes you think about it," number 2. Ah yes, the Great Nothing. I can't believe I didn't think about this when I was scripting the video. For those of you that don't know, it's like a spherical region of space that contains, well, basically nothing. Ah! Scary. So guys, that is the end of the video. Don't forget to let me know if you prefer to be too hot or too cold. Do you prefer hot or cold? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, while you're down there, why don't you leave a thumbs up on this video and share it with a friend. We're almost at 5 million, so if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do it. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate. I'll catch you in the next video, but until then, bye!